Good morning. This is Thursday morning, and we are on, I don't know, maybe day 17 of the challenge month. So I'm grateful for you guys joining me this morning. And I thought we've passed that halfway mark, and I really wanted to go back through in case some of you have missed maybe the formal instructions of the step process. I'm trying to make sure my hair not going all different directions. You don't sometimes see it till the video comes on. Be sure and join us by placing your feelings in the word. How are you feeling this morning? I hope that you guys are really practicing these steps. The emotional intelligence piece of life is one of those areas that sometimes we see lacking, being able to communicate clearly what's happening, what you're feeling to others, so that others don't have to read your mind. It's that balance of community of, I mean, I want to be concerned, but I don't want to have to read your mind to figure out what's going on with you. And so the practicing of that point, of that part of this is a really important um, residual benefit. It's the yappas that come out of this. One of the gangster grannies that'll be coming down in the July cohort is going to be doing a series of talks online or gatherings where she's going to be working on her emotional intelligence using her feeling words. And that's exciting to me. So um, Wida is going to be doing that. I don't have a link. So maybe I'll find a link while we're in quiet mode and try to put that up if she's got one for how we'll be able to connect with that. So that's what I thought I'd do today is just go through the steps and make sure that there's just some instruction on that. There are videos, of course. If you find the playlists, if you scroll down, no wasted time on the website, there's some tools. You can go right there and find some videos of various times when I've been talking or teaching these principles, these tools and steps. And so you can go there and that, kind of gives you a little bit of a guidance as you're doing the steps. But I just wanted to kind of go over it this morning for those that may be dropping in and just kind of refreshing what those steps look like. So let me pull up that screen where I have that information. So I started really by talking about the healing process that for a long time for me, it seemed quite elusive for us to get better solutions at healing. And as I've been moving with these tools, I realized that with the proper tools, healing really isn't mysterious and out of reach. It's not only reserved for therapists and spiritual leaders or people with, perfect lives, untraumatized lives. One, I don't believe that's possible. I think we have a 100% trauma rate. That's my belief. I'm standing on that. And it's work. It's not a magic pill. It's not a magic fix, but it's work we can actually do if we have the right tools. And that really is part of the social tech healing tools. This particular part of the social tech tools is about having the right tools for healing. And in this process, there's 5 practical steps, and all of them are really simple enough that we can go through them in brief. The real magic comes from using them. And so I want to walk through those steps this morning and just kind of give just a quick pointer as to how to use those steps. And this is chapter 17 through 22 in the book. If you don't have the book, nowastedtime.com or globalundergroundrailroad.com. You can get the digital copy. The print copy is available on Amazon. So first thing we do, step 1, tell the truth about what happened. That's plain and simple. It starts with honesty. It starts with a commitment to healing, and it starts with honesty. And step 1 really has kind of 2 parts of the same thing. The first part is what happened, just the facts, no spin, no exaggeration, no justification. Speaking simply of what happened, use I and you. I did this, you did this, because you're talking about a real situation with individuals or circumstances in place. And so you write this as if you're speaking to a real person. I did this and you did this. I did this and you did this. I did this and this thing happened. And then how does that make you feel? This is really, checking in on your emotional truth. Not what you should feel, what you did feel, what you actually felt. An example, I called and you didn't answer. My WhatsApp showed the message was delivered and read and you didn't reply. Facts. I felt overlooked. I felt unimportant. I felt heartbroken. Feelings. Your emotional truth makes a fact. No blaming, no softening. Sometimes, well, I felt a little bit heartbroken. No, we're not softening this. The truth is what it is. I felt heartbroken. I felt unimportant. I felt overlooked. We're not putting any hidden logic behind it. We're just speaking the facts. So this is about honoring really the full weight of your reality, because that's where healing really begins. We move on to step 2 then. And each of these steps are self-paced. Some things bring up a whole lot of emotions, and you need to let those emotions have their space. But when you're ready to move on to step 2, it's really about identifying your values and losses and your survival responses. This is where you explore, what did that moment hurt? Why did that moment hurt and the way that it did? And so we talk about values and beliefs. What did you expect? What did you believe should or should not have happened? I believe people should respond when they say they care. I value reciprocity and communication. Those would be some of the values that might be the shoulds of that situation that I'm using as the example. Your losses. What did you lose? Or feel like you lost in that moment? I lost my sense of safety and connection. I lost trust. Whatever your truth is, it's about speaking that, what that loss was to you. And then this step is also about your survival responses. What did you do to manage the emotional pain and losses? What did you do as these things were kicking off and triggering these emotions? What did you do? I shut down. I pulled away. I told myself I didn't care when I actually did. Those may be the responses that you had to that situation. This step is really about getting honest about what was sacred to you, the sacredness of our values. What did you expect, and what was lost? And then how you tried to protect yourself. What did you do to try to protect yourself, to get yourself back to that sense of balance or safety or neutral? It gives you some context, and it keeps you from making the pain your personality. Then step 3, we sit with the survival responses and let that energy settle. That's really what step 3 is about. It's not about blaming or fixing, because we're in just the fact finding. We're here just getting the facts of this during the first parts of the steps. It's about gently acknowledging what you did to survive and letting the energy behind those choices really settle or dissipate. You've already named those responses in step 2. This is where you return to them, not to judge, not to rush into any action, but to simply say, I shut down. I pulled away. I told myself I didn't care when I actually did. It's just sitting with that truth. You give your body space to exhale. You let your nervous system feel the honesty without defense, without shame. And really, that's how we begin to reclaim clarity, not through force, but really through presence. Because when that emotional energy softens, your inner voice gets louder, your ability to hear gets stronger. And from that place, you begin to see a different way of what to do. And so we move from that place when you're ready to move on from that step to step 4, where we reflect on the values and beliefs and losses behind your own actions. Step 4 really mirrors step 2, but now the lens is specifically on you. You've already named what you did to survive. Now you ask yourself, what values was I trying to protect? What beliefs or shoulds shaped my behavior? And what losses was I trying to avoid or manage? You are here. That step is really just about listening. We're still not in analysis, no self-blame, just honest self-reflection. And so it might be that my values are of emotional safety, self-worth, belonging. My beliefs, my shoulds, I should be strong. I shouldn't need anyone. They should just know. And then my losses, maybe my losses included having some fear of rejection. I spent time fearing rejection or fearing abandonment. Um, I lost control, or at least I felt like it. I felt like I lost connection, perhaps. And so these steps give you insight into contracts, social contracts you've been living by, whether they're spoken or unspoken. Because oftentimes we don't realize the social contracts that we put in place. We just have these assumptions. And sometimes we don't verbalize those assumptions to other people. And if other people aren't reading our minds, then real disconnection in our communication. And so then we move from that to the first part of step 5, which is the 5A. And this is really the embodiment step. Healing isn't just emotional, it's behavioral. And so we ask, what was the cost? What does freedom look like now? What should someone who believes these things, we go back and we look at what this thing has cost, because we're talking about freedom, healing giving us freedom. What price have I paid for this experience? What are my losses? And we've listed those in steps 2 and step 4, but this is kind of like step 3, where we're taking this all in and being able to sit with that and allow that energy to dissipate, to really see the weight of this experience, to really count the cost of this experience. And again, we're not talking about judgment. We're talking about observation. We're talking about the conversations with yourself that should lead us to healing. What did this situation actually cost me? And then once we get to that point, this is really that place of release. 5B really talks about healing not being linear. It's about going through this and feeling this experience and then saying, now, what does this mean to me? Now that I can see from a much clearer perspective, I've laid these facts out of this situation. Now, how do I analyze it? We don't do the analysis before we lay the facts out. Because if we start this with what's wrong from the beginning, we don't have the facts out. We don't have our emotions out. We don't know the values that were at play at this. And life is kind of tangled. And so this is about taking that opportunity to speak to ourselves in a loving way about where we were. When we return to truth about this, when we return to the truth of our values, who we say we are, who are we? Who are we? And so it's after we tell the truth about what happened. It's after we name the values and losses and our survival responses. It's after we sit with the things that we did to survive and let that energy settle. It's after we list out the values and beliefs and the losses behind my own behavior, the stuff I'm responsible for. It's after we look at the cost of this and the cost that will continue if we continue this behavior. And it's letting life get real from that perspective. It's realizing that we're not helpless. We're not too far behind. We're not the product of just that part of the damage. It's saying, I'm learning more about me. I'm learning more about what's important, where my values get hit and triggered. I'm learning about some of the areas in my life that haven't been healed yet, that I'm working on healing itself. What do we now say? If we speak to ourselves in love, how do we now deal with this? Are there some values we need to let go of because they're traumatizing us and they're not sustainable? And this process is one that's not a one and done. It's how many layers are there in my life that got a little distorted, got warped, got twisted by life. And it's commitment that says, when those things show up, I'm going to work on them. Because I know that healing robs me. Healing creates these losses. The lack of healing, the trauma creates these losses. I now can count the cost of what it means when I violate my values. When I create trauma in my life, I can count the cost of that. And then it's making some decisions, because sometimes that 5B is a commitment to self, a recommitment. Self, we were living these values and our part of the equation created damage. Damage is already done. What are we going to do about it now? It's about seeing that. It's about understanding ourselves. It's about understanding those pieces of us. And so this is not a process that you do one time and say, ooh, I've healed. Ooh, I've dealt with this big boulder. I'm done. Because oftentimes it's taking layers off so you can get to the deeper places. Oftentimes it's dealing with one thing because that's what was triggered and comes up. But as you go through this process, that's why there's more pages in the journal, because as that one moment comes up, another moment gets unearthed. Why? Because you move that out of the way. Ooh, there's some more stuff up underneath there. Some more stuff up underneath there. I had that experience recently in the physical. I moved my bed. Oh, there's dust up under there. Oh, where'd that come from? When I start moving something out of the way, something else comes up that needs some cleaning or that could be served well by that. And that really is this process that for me, it's a lifestyle. These are tools that help me live my life every day. When things come up and my emotions are usually the indicator. Ooh, I'm feeling some kind of way. Well, let's get to the step. Step one, what you feeling? Because those feelings are the tools in life. When I'm connected with my feelings and I'm not gaslighting my feelings and I'm recognizing that they're trying to help me maneuver life, sometimes maneuvering life in a traumatizing world. And when I start paying attention to those things, when that becomes my nature, where those things trigger something in this situation is not sitting well with me. It's not in alignment. It's not my frequency. Insert your appropriate vocabulary from your life path. These things don't align with my life, and my emotions are saying, check this. Maybe it's just a sad situation, but this could be something that possibly could be bringing trauma into your life. And as I began using these tools as a real life kind of framework, I began to realize that I got control over the stuff that's happening in real time. Now, I can't fix other people. That's why I set boundaries. If you got issues and those issues are creating trauma in my life, I'm responsible for my life, and I'm responsible for setting some boundaries to say, I'm sorry, you can't bring that into my life. I'm not willing to take on the cost of the trauma that you bringing that into my life is going to create, and I get to choose what I bring into my life. But it says the person that I can control is me. I set boundaries for the folk I can't control because I'm responsible for my boundaries. But for me, I get to control my behavior. And if my behavior is not coming out of me in a way that's avoiding the trauma, I can change me. I can be responsible. And maybe I haven't done the healing in those areas. I'm still triggered. I can choose to then put some behavior modification in place. You notice things trigger you, so slow your response down. Don't send that message till you go through the steps. It's true, you feel it, you want to say it. That means there's some stuff that's not healed. You got triggered. Okay, self, I'm triggered. Don't make it worse by adding trauma to it. I have control over that person, and that's the person that I commit to working on. And so these are tools that give you some steps to do that. These tools have a lot of science behind them, evidence-based research, and some other things that show it to be highly effective with, complicated trauma. And this is what we're talking about, life trauma. By the definition, it's anytime your values and expectations are conflicted, anytime. In your life, you can probably see that's a whole lot of big and small ways. You turn on the TV, something's playing, that don't align with your values. Trauma is happening, micro traumas. But those become the cumulative weights that we carry around. If you think of every one of those being another pebble you put in your pocket, some of them are big, some of them are small, but every time something conflicts with your values, you put one of those pebbles in your pocket or in your backpack. How long will it take for you to be weighted down? This says, keep living. Life gonna keep lifing. But we need to have ways then to unpack that stuff, because it's gonna happen. If you get out here in this world, if you interact in any way, the potential for trauma is there. Community. If you interact in community with people who got issues, the potential for trauma is there. How do we have tools? If we're going to do community, we got to have tools to be able to help us. Otherwise, it cumulatively becomes too heavy for us to carry. We can't stay in community because community becomes the very place that's too damaging. And so in life that says, if I'm going to do community, I better have some tools to undo the damage that could. Who do I fix? Me. What do I do for everybody else? Put boundaries when it's necessary. And so these are those tools. Wanted to go over those this morning just in case some of you have missed those steps. Pointing you to the link that I've tagged in there, No Wasted Time, has links to that, but there's also a playlist that goes through and gives kind of a succinct description of the steps as well. And so reach out for those resources if you need help as you're going through these steps, both now in this month challenge or in real life. That's why they're there. It's kind of like suspended animation. You can go to anytime you want to. If you get into a situation in real life, and you say, wait a minute, hold on. Let me practice using this in real life. Let me pull this up so that as I'm trying to maneuver this real life situation, I can use the steps. Because one is fixing the stuff that's already happened. Two is fixing the right now so that you don't add more trauma to your basket of stuff that you got to work on. So it's the both and, that it does work really well. It's a tool that was designed for healing things that have already happened. The magic, the yappas, is that it also is a tool for learning how to maneuver life in real time and minimize the potential of damage. Because when you get to step 3, what did I do? Nuh-uh, we haven't done it yet. Let's make a decision for what we will do and make sure that what we're going to do does not conflict with our values. And so it's choosing a life that becomes less and less traumatizing for you in real time. So that's what I got to share with you, some steps, being able to go through the steps. I hope you're using them. I hope you are working yourself through them. Take one and go through the process. This is one of those processes that I can talk to you and theoretically you can understand it and it will have no benefit for you, none. You can read this book, you can read the steps, you can come join us every morning and it will have some benefit for you in understanding, but it will not help you in your healing process if you don't use it. You won't understand the depth of how this really works unless you use it. So I encourage you to do the steps. This challenge encourages you to spend 30 days interacting with these steps, learning the thinking process of these steps. It will follow through. It'll roll over. There'll be things you'll be thinking about and how to process it when things get triggered. But using it is about the healing work. You can understand it, but are you actually doing the work of healing? And so this is about practical solutions, but practical solutions mean you got to do it. It's kind of like the gym membership. You know, paid you $30, you done got your membership. It ain't gonna do you no good if you don't do it, you know? So I encourage you to do the work. This is the work of healing. All right, how you guys feeling this morning? Let's see, my Miss Nancy Mirror. Good morning, Kimberly. Good morning, Mayor. Good morning, Jackie. Let's see. Mayor is feeling loved, content, but yesterday, scared. And that scared from yesterday has moved to content. Gonna use your tools. Yeah, freedom is what we're trying for, is what we're aiming for. Freedom, freedom, freedom. Freedom from the things that hold us in bondage. And so much of what holds us in bondage is in our mind. It's the stuff. It's the stuff we put into them attics in our life. And we close them doors and lock them up. Well, then things get full. It's like the junk drawer, it gets full. This is about emptying that place out so that we have space for new life and freedom and joy and passion, even in a world that may be chaotic and traumatizing. So, feeling disappointed and stagnant. That's real. I have felt those things I can identify. Any other feelings, any other questions? I hope this is giving you meaningful tools to be able to really just explore deepening our healing journey. These tools were designed. The ultimate goal is if there's crisis and we know we need to do healing first, how do you do that even in the midst of crisis? And so these tools are meant to be easy enough to learn, but powerful enough to get the job done. So hopefully you will see some of that in your use of them. All right, any other questions? Feel free to put your questions in the chat. I will be monitoring the space. And happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. All right, have a great day, you guys. I was talking but did not have the mute off. So thank you for coming and letting us share this time with you, and for letting us hold space for your healing work. And we want to honor the work of healing. And we'll be here same time, same place tomorrow as we continue our 30-day healing challenge. If you'd like more information about the book, you can visit nowastedtime.com. The digital copy can be purchased there, or you can go to the website for International Welcome Center, which is globalundergroundrailroad.com. Either of those places you can buy the digital copy. You can also look online on Amazon and find the printed copy that has 30 sets of journal pages already there for you to be able to begin the work. So revolution must come to our house, our home. You can find it in those ways. The digital copy is available for immediate download, so you can get started like today. And I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Thanks again. Happy Thursday, and heal together. Bye.